Now that The Walking Dead is officially over and we got a pretty satisfactory conclusion for the most part, I couldn't help but think about all the questions we're still left with. There's quite a few things, even just from season 11, that weren't answered, but across multiple different seasons that we never got any on-screen answers to. So in this video, I want to go over all of the unanswered questions that I still have. There's quite a few, so odds are I might have missed one or two, and I know you'll let me know that down in the comments what I missed, but for the ones that I do have, I'm going to go over what we know, where it left off, and the likelihood of if we'll ever hear from it again. So let's dive into the unanswered questions from The Walking Dead. I'm going to start off with some pretty recent questions from season 11 before I go back and discuss stuff from the earlier seasons. So let's start off and talk about Rick Grimes. Yes, we did see him and Michonne again after years, both in real time and showtime, of them being gone, and it was a great scene, but it also left us with more questions than it did answers. With the phone, the timeline of events, Consignee Grimes, Michonne's gear, and the people that she was with, it all left us on the edge of our seats to learn more about them, and the likelihood we'll learn more about this is 100% because of course we're getting the Rick and Michonne show, so I'm fine with it and excited to learn more about where Rick has been this whole time. Also from season 11, we had a few hints towards the Commonwealth and the CRM knowing one another. There was Lance talking about how he's important to the partnerships the Commonwealth has in place, along with Designation 2, where Connie was gonna be taken somewhere far away and they're never seen again. I was quite disappointed that there was no conclusion to these setups, but I really think that in any of the spinoffs this could be delved into more, so I'm putting this question at a 90% chance of getting answered. One of the more interesting questions that's been around for a while is the card that Tara found that has PPP written on it. For a while, the general assumption was that PPP was the first tease of the CRM, but the logo changed over the years and PPP turned into the 3 rings. That was until Tales of the Walking Dead, where we see Devon in the 5th episode holding the PPP card. Was this just an Easter egg, or is it hinting at something more? We saw Tara hold this card after Heath disappeared, and don't worry, I'm gonna get to Heath in just a minute, but we never saw this PPP card again until Tales of the Walking Dead. Could this PPP card still have something to do with the CRM? Absolutely it could. Could this have just been an Easter egg to show the fans the PPP sign again? Absolutely it could. I'm putting this question at 50% of getting answered because I can see it going either way, but of course I'd like to see this card mean something more eventually. Now, there's been plenty of characters introduced over the years that seem to just disappear, but I think the most notable disappearance, and one of the ones that's been talked about plenty of times over the years, is Heath. On screen, he's kinda just forgotten about, but that didn't stop fans from badgering the producers for answers, so Angela Kang actually confirmed that Jadis took Heath and traded him to the CRM. This was where Tara found the PPP card, so perhaps after someone is taken to be traded by the CRM, the person who takes them has to drop a PPP card for some reason. In Tales of the Walking Dead, it certainly seems that Devon is looking for his family due to this photograph, so maybe they were taken and all that was left was the PPP card. One theory I have regarding this card is that it certainly seems to be like a key card or like a key fob of some kind, so perhaps this card could actually open some kind of CRM facility if the people searching for their lost ones actually make it to their destination. Not too sure, but in regards to Heath, I think we are 95% going to at least get some kind of mention about him, most likely in the Rick Grimes show. In appearance would all be up to the actor and if he wanted to come back, but I think easily Rick could be reading some documents and learn that Heath was an A experiment that went badly, and now he's dead. And if we're not going to see him, at least learning his fate would be good enough. Going back to season 11, we had another character introduced that was just left out of the finale, and that's Negan's wife, Annie. She was a pretty major character in terms of the storyline between Negan and the rest of the characters, but she wasn't in the finale, and in fact she's not even mentioned in the finale. Where did she go? Well, we can assume that since she was pregnant, she just wasn't part of the final battle at the Commonwealth, and that's fine, and we're 100% going to get some more information about her in the Maggie and Negan spinoff, if not have her actually be a character within the show itself. Speaking of disappearing characters in season 11, we have Virgil. Virgil and Connie had a really great episode in the beginning of the season, and he was only in one episode after that, and that's season 11, episode 8, titled For Blood. He stays in the house to protect the kids, and after that, even though the next episode takes place in the same day as this one, he's never heard from again. The last we see him, he's being helped upstairs by Diane, and that's it. Never to be seen or heard from again. This one is very new, and the actor who plays Virgil, Kevin Carroll, hasn't said anything to clear this up, but we can assume he left to go and work on other projects and just wasn't written into the show anymore. Will we ever see or hear from Virgil again? I'm giving this one a measly 5% chance because I can see Michonne maybe talking about him, but that's really it. But I think by far the most intriguing character who was never seen again was Georgie.
I'll be back. Maybe not for a while, but I will.
Yeah, no you won't. Georgie was brought in season 8, episode 12, The Key, and traded supplies with Maggie in order to give her the key to rebuilding civilizations using medieval methods. When Maggie left the show, it was explained that she left with Georgie to go around and find different communities and help build them up. But Georgie left to go somewhere out west, and Maggie hasn't heard from her since. When the actor Jane Atkinson was asked whether or not Georgie would be back, she had this to say. "I couldn't possibly tell you, nudge nudge, wink wink. She says she'll be back, so I'm gonna take her at her word." But this was all the way back in 2018, so it seems like that ship has sailed. The only way I could see her returning is actually in Fear the Walking Dead, given that Maggie said that she left to go somewhere west, which could possibly land her in Texas where Fear takes place. However, there are some issues here because Fear is still years behind the current timeline of the show, so unless a giant time jump happens in Fear, I think an appearance by Georgie is unlikely. It would be cool, but I ultimately don't have much faith, so I'm giving a Georgie return a 10%. One of the more intriguing aspects introduced in World Beyond and then in season 11 was variant walkers. This is new territory for The Walking Dead, and it comes with a lot of questions. How are some walkers variants and others aren't? It was kind of retconned that the walkers in Atlanta back in season 1 were variants, so how were these walkers variants but every single other zombie in seasons 2 to 10 weren't variants? I think variants are certainly here to stay and are going to be a huge aspect of this universe going forward, so this one is a 100% from me. One question that we've kind of got answers to is the A and B connections and what it means. But it doesn't stop the constant A and B symbols we've seen over the years from still being pretty mysterious. For the CRM, an A is someone who's recently been bit and is worked on in a lab, and a B is a worker, at least we think, but that's still not concrete information. But we've seen at least the symbol A all over the place throughout all seasons. Was this foreshadowing to the CRM? I do think it was, but given as how the main show has ended and we've been given 2 + 2 = 4 in regards to what A and B means, I think this could be it for the explanation, but I do think A's and B's will be mentioned during the Rick and Michonne show, especially if we want some answers in regards to Heath, so I'll give this question an 80% to being brought back up again. If you watch my video on the finale of the show, then you'll know I wasn't all too satisfied because there were a lot of character arcs that weren't completed, so really quickly I want to go over all the characters from season 11 and talk about if their arc is complete and if we'll see them again. Daryl. Obviously we'll see him again, but his arc is nowhere near complete. In fact, I think it's only just beginning, and I can't wait to see what his arc is gonna be in his own show. Maggie. Again, obviously we'll see her again, and I think that her arc when it comes to forgiving Negan was completed, but in Maggie becoming a true leader and even mother, I think there's still more to come. Negan. While his beef with Maggie seems a bit squashed, I'm sure things are going to heat back up again in their spinoff, which is kind of strange, but whatever, and I think his arc will never truly be complete until he sees Rick and Rick can see how much he's changed, and until he dies saving either Maggie or Herschel Jr., which I certainly think is on the way, hopefully just not in the first season. Carol. Obviously with Carol it's a bit strange because she was supposed to be part of the Daryl spinoff, but given as how both Daryl and Norman Reedus have said that they'll see Carol again, I think it's safe to say that she'll pop up again in one of these spinoffs down the road. Ezekiel. I think that Ezekiel had a full and complete arc, and now that he's in charge of the Commonwealth, I think if we ever see him again it would be great, but we don't really need to. Father Gabriel. Another complete arc, in fact one of my favorite character arcs in the entire show. I would hope to see him again, but if we don't, that's fine too. Aaron. I feel like Aaron could have gone on to have a much bigger role than he did, but I guess he just lives the quiet life now, being a father. Did he have a complete arc? Yeah, I mean, I guess so. If he were to return in one of the spin-offs, I would hope it would be for a reason and to give him something to do, not to just have him there for fan service. Eugene, definitely a solid and complete arc. He's found happiness, he has a family. I hope we don't see Eugene again, so that way he can live out his happy days. Yumiko, Magna, Connie, and Kelly. Other than Yumiko in season 11 and Connie with Daryl, these characters never really had arcs, they were kinda just there. If we were to see one of these characters again, I would definitely want it to be Connie, hopefully in the Daryl show. Jerry. As much as everybody loved Jerry, he was certainly a comedic relief character, and if he gets a happy ending, I'm good with that. But if Ezekiel died, I certainly would have liked to see Jerry's Kingdom 2.0. Mercer and Princess. Though these two weren't in the show very long compared to the others, I actually think that they were great additions. Mercer certainly had a full and complete character arc. I'd be happy to see both of these characters again, though I do think it's pretty unlikely. Lydia and Elijah. I suppose these two did have a complete character arc. Lydia was easily one of the best characters introduced in the later seasons, and while she wasn't given much to do in season 11, I guess I'm happy for her now that she has Elijah. I really don't think that we'll ever see these two again, though. Judith. I think that Judith is going to have a huge place in this universe going forward. Whether or not she's played by Kaylee Fleming, I have no idea, but Judith is only just starting to come into her own, and I think that perhaps in the second season, if there is one of the Rick and Michonne show, that Judith could become a major character. Maybe along with RJ up there too. I don't really know how that would work. We don't know much about RJ at all, but who knows, we'll see. Alright, those are my thoughts on the unanswered questions and character arcs in the show. Let me know any additional questions you have down in the comments below and what your theories are regarding their answers. If you enjoyed this video, remember to leave a like and subscribe for more content like this. If you do, then I'll see you in the next one.
Yeah.